My boyfriend said, "Don't worry, your laptop is just lost." I didn't ask any questions, I just smiled and said, "I'll handle it myself." 2 days later, a report, a few phone calls, and when the police asked his ex for the truth, a small lie cost her far more than she ever expected. When I first saw his text, "Don't worry, your laptop is just lost," I stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then I slowly smiled and typed back, "I'll handle it myself." Maybe he expected panic, questions, blame. But I didn't offer any. I've learned that staying quiet often gives you more clarity than reacting ever could. It was almost 6 in the evening. I was standing in the Costco parking lot, loading giant packs of paper towels, almond milk, and a warm rotisserie chicken into my trunk. Basic supplies that keep a middle-class American household moving. I shut the trunk, took a breath, and thought, all right, I'll handle this too. When I got home, he was on the couch watching Netflix like everything was normal. He looked at me casually and said, "Sorry babe, my mistake. I thought she'd return it in a day." I slipped off my shoes, set my purse down, and replied, "It's fine." That was it. To the outside world, our life looked perfect. Our couple photos on Facebook collected a flood of heart emojis. At church potlucks, people would smile and say, "You two look amazing together." But inside the house, there was a strange, heavy quiet, like something unspoken lived between the walls. For years I'd sensed that something was wrong, but I never said anything. I simply watched, listened, remembered. I noticed his tone shifts. The way he'd suddenly lock his phone. The nights he claimed he had meetings, even though the car mileage told a different story. His ex, the one who had borrowed my laptop, never sat right with me. She still showed up at neighborhood PTA meetings even though her kid wasn't in the same grade anymore. She gave unsolicited parenting advice to everyone, injected her ex-boyfriend into random conversations, and carried an air of unfinished business wherever she walked. Every time I saw her, I felt like there was a chapter she wasn't ready to close. The next morning, before heading to work, I filed a police report. My tone was calm, almost routine. "My laptop is missing. It has some personal files." I gave the officer her name, the timeline, everything he needed. He wrote it all down and asked, "Do you suspect someone?" I said softly, "Maybe," and left. By noon, things got more interesting. His ex texted me, "Hey, I'm trying to find the laptop. I'm sure it'll show up." I didn't reply. I just took a screenshot and saved it. That night felt different. I made dinner, chicken, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and placed the plates quietly on the table. He looked at me and said, "Babe, are you mad?" I said, "I'm sorry." "I'm not mad," I replied. And that was true. I wasn't mad. I was awake. Over the next 2 days, I made a few calls. Insurance, my workplace, and a couple of people I knew who had connections with the local police follow-up system. My tone remained polite, helpful, even warm. People underestimate how powerful quiet cooperation can be. Silence isn't weakness. Most of the time it's strategy. When the police contacted his ex, everything began unraveling. It was a sunny February afternoon with crisp air. I was sitting on the porch sipping coffee when I learned they'd questioned her. She cried. Apparently a small lie had grown too heavy to hold. She told one story, then another, then a third. First she said she just kept the laptop, then she said it went missing, then she claimed she never took it. All 3 contradictions were recorded. The price of lying always goes up. Life taught me that early. When my boyfriend came home that evening, his face was tight with worry. "Why did you file a report?" They questioned her. "She's freaking out." I answered calmly, "It's my laptop. It's my right." He opened his mouth to argue, but then he really looked at me. My steady expression, the lack of anger, the stillness. It might have been the first time he realized my calm wasn't passive. It was controlled. Almost dangerous. "Was this necessary?" he asked, voice sharper now. I softly replied, "Yes. Because you didn't ask a single question when you handed my laptop to her. You just assumed I wouldn't say anything." He looked away. I placed my plate in the sink and added gently, "We assume wrong sometimes." The next day the police found the laptop, hidden in her closet under a pile of clothes. She panicked, tried to explain, then finally confessed. "I was just trying to see something. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Just one sentence, but it shifted everything. My boyfriend felt the humiliation when the officer told him, "Your ex admitted she took it intentionally." His eyes dimmed. My guess had always been that he didn't care about my laptop or my privacy. What really scared him was the possibility of her truth being exposed. And now it was. That evening he sat across from me in the living room. The lights were dim, lavender from the diffuser filled the room. He said, "I didn't know she'd do that." Sorry. I looked at him. For a long time. Then I said, "This wasn't just a laptop. It was about boundaries. And you broke those." He didn't reply. I continued, "And for someone who clearly hasn't left your life, you must have thought I don't notice things. I notice everything. I just don't speak." For the first time in months, something inside me loosened. Like a knot finally slipping free. That night I made my decision. This relationship was no longer a place where I could grow. The next morning I pulled out my suitcase, folded my clothes neatly, and before walking out the door I said only one thing. I've handled everything myself. Just like I said in the beginning. The air outside was cold but my heart felt steady. Something had ended but something new had space to begin. As I drove out of the neighborhood I thought, this is what real victory feels like. Quiet. Precise. Completely mine. If you want I can now create the SEO description. Thumbnail text English plus Urdu. Image prompts. Text/hashtags. Just tell me. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more quiet revenge moments like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps me create more powerful stories for you. Thank you so much for watching. Stay connected and stay strong.